Good morning, YouTube. Reseller Mom here. Welcome to today's live chat about BQool Repricer. So let's see here. Today is Monday, and it's the 24th of August. August is almost over. We are running out of the month, but lots of good things happening here. And somebody had requested a while ago I share my settings for BQool. So I'm going to go through it. I'm going to give you the general overview, but I'm going to show you all of the buttons I click. And it's fairly updated because I just went through this and took the screenshots this week. They had a big update, though, last night. I did these screenshots, and then I saw the email come out that says, you know, we've done some upgrading or updates to our dashboard and things like that. So I haven't gone through this morning and seen what those updates are. So I feel like as much as I try to be up to date with the information I give you guys, it could always be outdated. Man, things in Amazon world can change in a minute. It's crazy. So let's see here. Add to the stream. I took some screenshots. First, I'm going to go through the different groups and how I organize my BQool stuff. I do a combination for Amazon. I do a combination of retail arbitrage, which is where you go out to the stores and you find deals. Online arbitrage, which is where you go online and you find deals and whatnot. And then wholesale items. Now, some of my retail arbitrage and my online arbitrage are replenishable, meaning if I find, here I got my rice cakes here, if I find these rice cakes, you know, make me $2 consistently when I buy them at X price and they are sold at XYZ stores, then I can loop them in and go and continually purchase them. So when I talk, I'm just giving the overview of explaining the acronyms. So when I talk about RA replens, that would be that case. When I find one-off things, like let's say I go and I find this hand sanitizer for a great deal, but it's a limited edition, a lot of pumpkin spice grocery items are coming out, things like that. Or just when I go to Ross and Marshall's and find clothes and it's just for that one. And can I find those items again? Sure. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I don't count them as part of my replen. I'm not going to go back to TJ Maxx and find that pair of socks or that t-shirt again to replen it necessarily. So I just took some screenshots and I had to carefully make sure that I wasn't sharing anything that I don't want to share. And it is, you know, it's not that early in the morning, but I feel like my coffee hasn't kicked in yet. And I don't think I can really make this too much bigger. Let's see, if I go like that, maybe that's a little bit bigger. Well, you guys just need to get the gist of it anyways. So when I log in the morning, there's a couple things that I do. And the default for me is morning check. So this is a setting that I have done, and I'm going to show you what those settings are. But what it does is it allows me to see anything new that has hit the warehouse. And that's what I want to see. I want to see my new items first that are not on a repricing strategy of any sort. There's lots of things you can do with BQool software. It's really, really fun. I just started up on this one like February, so I've been using it for, you know, about a little over 6 months, and it's got a lot of features. I'm really liking it, but you have to play around with it to really hone it into kind of what you want, because there's just so many little clicky things you can do. Okay, so my morning check is called morning check because that's what I'm after. And what I want to find is all of the items that have just hit the warehouse, and I want to get them set up on my repricer. And I have a kind of a default that I'm going to go to and whatnot. So let's see here, where to start. So it's going to sync with Amazon, and I can't remember how often it syncs. It's a couple times a day. I can't remember if it's every 12 hours or 8 hours. I'm sure it's somewhere. You could find that out if you're truly interested. And then it does sync and change your prices pretty good in terms of speed. I think mine are set up to sync every 15 minutes or something like that. But there are more aggressive repricers out there that will do, you know, every 15 seconds. Anyhow, I have mine set to sync with my inventory lab cost of goods. Now that is important to input what the cost of goods was on Inventory Lab side, because then I'm going to base all my rules off of that cost of goods. So if I buy something and I'm paying tax and a fee or shipping or any of that stuff, I want to make sure that's kind of factored into the cost of goods or factored in somewhere, so that when I'm doing my pricing, you don't want your minimum price to not factor that in and then all of a sudden you're losing money. So that's super important. All right, so this is how it's going to look, and it's going to have no minimum price, no maximum price, no rule. And what you're going to do is select, and I just hit the select all, and then this bulk action. Bulk action is the way to go when you are getting bulk things done in BQool. Then I'm going to click the set minimum, maximum price, and rule. So I want to get everything on my default repricer, and everything at the beginning just goes on that default. And that's the settings. I'm going to show you what those exact settings for my default rule is and which rules I do have. This is my business and how I have it set up. Is it 100% for you? No, you're going to have to take what I do and then kind of factor in what you do and what you're comfortable with, etc. And I based all of my rules kind of off of full-time FBA. So if you want a good walkthrough on what every single rule means for your repricing rules, go watch their walkthrough. I'm not going to do a walkthrough because they have already done a good one. So just go there and watch that. Okay, so I'm going to hit min, max, and repricing. And this is what it looks like. So you have to scroll down. This is the start of the scroll, and then this is what it looks like default, and this is what my settings are. So the default is what you see here, and you can apply to selected listings. This drops down a little bit, and you can have some other choices. I don't mess with that. What I do is I go through and I put all three on, and then I'm going to change the top one and the bottom one. I like all my business practices to be as simple as possible, but if you want to set the max price to something else, go for it. But I thought your price plus shipping and then 50% was pretty fair. I have not been getting a whole lot of reprice or pricing alerts in Amazon. They kind of went crazy during COVID times with their pricing alerts, to be honest, and people were getting flagged all over the place. So make sure, if you're going to set your maximum price, make sure it's not super weird, because I have, let's see, when I first started out, I was like, well, I'll just make $99 my flat, max rule, and the repricer should catch everything. And then I wound up some, at that $99 mark, and then they're setting off my price alerts. So I've switched to your price plus shipping is 50%. So I go through, make sure everything's on. I like to set my minimum price based on ROI. Everything I buy out there, I'm willing to take a 30% ROI and go down that far. Everything that I source, I'm usually sourcing at 70% and above. So clothes are in that 70%. Toys are going to be 100%. And that's usually what I'm looking for when I'm going out. Now, there are some wholesale items that I'm cool with the 30%. I haven't really been comfortable going down below 30% unless if it's a special case. So this is, again, we're just going to set everything. And then when you find those little one-offs, you can go in and tweak those to your heart's consent. When we had the inventory clean out this summer and everybody was trying to work on their IPI scores, I went in and tweaked probably at least 50 ASINs that, I just wanted to create a sale or get moving or be a little bit more competitive, or maybe my competitor was beating me and they were at 28% ROI. Okay, I'm going to go in and change to 25, get that stuff out of there, get it moving, etc. But this is just for, base stuff going in. I'm cool with 30%. I want my repricer to be pretty competitive. I have it on some pretty competitive settings. So there we go. So ROI at 30%, and my rule is set it and forget it. I have a couple of rules, and they make sense to me. You can call them whatever you want. So get creative in your business if you want to. All right. Next is my filter. So this is my filter settings. I want to filter out, and I want to see just these items. I probably should have put this slide first to show you how my morning check gets filtered, but we're going to roll with it here. So my morning check is anything that has the repricing paused, all conditions, fulfillment, just FBA. I'm not looking at my merchant fulfilled items in this look. I just want to see what's hit the FBA facilities. Buy box owner all. All these are blanks. Quantity, this is an important one, 1 to 500, because if you don't have the 1 in there, it's going to show you all the stuff that's not available, and I don't want that. So I have, I don't know, hundreds of items going to the facility right now. You sell out of hundreds of items, you know, and then it becomes zero quantity. I don't want to look at what's out of stock. I just want to look at what's in stock. So 1 to 500. If you have more than 500, you know, bump that up a little bit. And then rule all, and I don't have any really exclusions and stuff. So that is, those are those settings. Just a second here, and we got to take that down, and I got to bring up my other stuff. So let's see here. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask them in the chat. Okay. Yes, it is this one. Perfect. All right, now let's go through and I will show you my settings for my rules. Let me get a drink of coffee here too. And again, I'm not going to go through and show you every little thing because there's just so many little buttons. This would be a very long video. And I've got a very busy Monday morning. I hope you guys do too. It's beautiful here in the Seattle area, and I've got some wholesale orders I got to put in. I bought a class course on hiring a VA, so that's my goal this week. I'm gonna watch that course. So BQool comes with a few settings already, and they're not bad settings. They're totally fine, and you can go in and tweak those or use them. I went to Full-Time FBA, looked at the walkthrough on what every button means, which is really important. I feel they have a lot of good buttons, so know what those buttons mean. But I did it back in February, so I'm not super refreshed on what I chose and why. They have some pretty good descriptions here. So the ones without a description are mine. So FBM is my FBM rule description. Get rid of this stuff is when I need to liquidate something and I want it just to be super competitive, and get rid of it. Don't want it anymore. We're going to go through, set it, and forget it. Now let's go through. We're going to edit rule. And this is kind of new, so I haven't really played with this too much because this is a new interface. Yeah. If you go and watch the Full-Time FBA, it's going to look like a different screen, which is fine. It's still kind of the same settings. It's a custom rule. You can set your description right there. Maybe. Okay. Clearly, I did not click the right thing. Next. I said save and finish instead of next. Okay. So you can go ahead and pause the video and walk through each one of these. And if you're confused as to what the heck it means, you can click the little information button, which is nice. I really like that feature. I came from Channel Max and they did not have that feature. And it was so frustrating because I'm like, I think I know what it means, but you know, I don't know how that interprets into what it's going to do. And I don't want to lose money, and they did not have very good information. So as you go through and set your offers and stuff, you can look at these little hover things. You can use Google. You can walk through Full-Time FBA's thing. And then also BQool has a lot of walkthroughs. So I did all those walkthroughs as well on what things mean, etc. They have some really good tutorials. So we're going to compete with the buy box. We want FBA. I exclude sellers with total feedback less than 2. I exclude sellers with handling times more than 2 days. I set the item condition to be the same. So those are all important things if you are setting up a general repricing strategy, because you don't want to compete with some of the people that are doing fulfillment by China are going to have way longer fulfillment rates, and I don't really want to compete with those. But those are things like, that's my decision. And you need to kind of walk through those and see what your business wants to do. Next up, get the buy box. So these are my buy box competitions and how I compete. And again, I've gone in and I've tweaked these once or twice over the last 6 months, but it's small tweaks, and I don't know if it's really making a huge difference at the end of the day. If you had a lot of wholesale items, maybe this volume type of competitiveness would be very, very important. But I have a lot of one-offs, so I kind of just want to get it in, flip my money, and get out. Some items, though, I am okay with competing a little bit longer, but this is, again, my general settings. You can go through and pause, again, the video, see what's going to go through and how fast you want to reprice it. Here is the next protection settings. So I do against Amazon and FBA, but my competition against Amazon is more stay on the same page as them, be really close to what Amazon is selling. You will get rotated in the buy box most likely. I haven't had too much problems having things for sale with Amazon on the buy box. Those, though, are usually my RA one-offs, one single shirt or maybe a pair of pants, etc. I'm not going to go into wholesale items against Amazon. That's just nope, nope. And then let's see here. Stay in the buy box. There's the settings for that. I don't think there's anything too crazy here. It's very descriptive. I kind of like this new feature on the walkthrough. Before it was like one big page. Now it's broken up into on each part of the rule. So when you're staying in the buy box, lower or raise my buy box price within a penny. You can also do percents. You can you can do dollar signs or percents. Choose the competitors. Again, I don't, my FBA stuff does not compete against FBM at all. But with COVID times, that might be something you want to look at, because there's a lot of fulfilled by merchants that are getting a lot of the buy box right now because the system is still not back to normal. Schedule. Oh, okay. Like if you wanted to reschedule on a schedule, I just have it whatever the default is. I don't have any of that. And I guess you could see here what this looks like. Sweet. So you could just drop down and edit there, go over it one last time before you save it. So there we go. That's about it. I mean, I said I'd show you my settings. I don't really want to sit there and walk through every little detail with y'all because it's just tedious and boring. In my opinion, I've got a lot of other stuff to do, and there's just so many other good polished walkthroughs. And if I was going to do a real walkthrough for you guys, I would want to do something that was polished like that, and it's already been done, so I don't really feel like I need to. But that's my BQool settings. A lot of the other repricers have very similar settings out there, so if you are using something else, if you're even using the Amazon default one, you got to know what the terminology is. You got to know who and why and what you want to compete against and everything like that. So say I was selling used books, I might want to compete against fulfilled by merchant, especially in these days and times with back to school just starting and books being a really big seller for back to school textbooks and stuff. So, look at the aspects of your business and then see how you want to compete against them. And of course, you can set up custom ones for wholesale items, or if you're the only seller, or just things like that. But for my default stuff, I go through and I put everything into my default repricer, and then I go through and put everything into groups. That's something that perhaps I could show you as well really quick. Let me bring that one back up. I will go through these things, and you can see that they're all in my RA one-offs right here. This one actually shouldn't be. It's from Ulta, and usually I have my Ulta stuff in my Ulta OA group, but I will go through as well. I have a let's see if it's shown on here, missing group. So I have my groups. I've got a ton of groups. Every store has a group to it. And then I have them kind of categorized in terms of wholesale is up here, then I have my OA groups, and then I have my RA groups. And so I will go through and click on that missing groups, and I will go through and add them to groups. So as I name things, I have this naming convention. So this is a Marshall's find. I bought it for $4. And so if the price, let's say there's a customer return or something that's wanky, and I need to remember what the price was, it's built into my SKU. So I know I got it at Marshall's. I know it was $4. And when I'm going through and adding it to a group, I will go through and add this one to the RA one-off group because it's not a replenishable type of item. This Ulta one probably should have gone into the Ulta group. I don't know why I did this. I hope I fixed it. I'll have to go find out in a minute. And then, on this group list, I will go through and add it. So I can easily click. That's the next part. When I go through my ordering, I will click on the stores, see what my sales are at, which you'll be able to see here. I have it sorted by units sold, and I have both the 30-day and the 7-day. So I have it sorted by my best sellers up at the top. I can't remember those settings off the top of my head, but I think it's by ROI or maybe units sold at the top, so I could see what's selling the best, and I can look at the stuff at the bottom and adjust for each store and see how things are doing. So I had some items that were doing amazing at the beginning of COVID, and now they're not doing so amazing. There's a lot of competition. We've had, 20 more people jump on the listing. And so now I got to figure out, do I want to tweak my prices, or do I want to just hold out and wait for those other people to sell out and then sell mine? We're going into Q4. So right now I've already done clean out of my stale inventory, a lot of those other stuff. I'll probably just keep my prices set and go into Q4, and those other people will sell out and get off the listing, and then I'll get my good prices again. But when I'm going through and ordering, especially with this OA list, I'll go through my OA list, and let's say they found 2 items at Walgreens. Okay, that's great. So 2 items for Walgreens, I'll put them in my test buy, and I'm going to test buy 5 of each maybe. And then it goes through my system, and then it will get on there, and I'll see the performance. But when I'm going back and I'm buying things, I'll put those guys on my purchase, and then I'll go through my group list and see what's the best moving thing for Walgreens, and do I need any stock, and I'll add that into my order. So I do that a couple times a week. Our family 247 says, thanks for the information. Setting up Repricer. Yeah, it's very confusing. And we could sit here and talk about settings all day long, but yeah, go do the BQool rundown and FBA, full-time FBA's rundown. He's very good at going through each of the things and why you'd want to select one or why you wouldn't want to select one, and then you can make those tweaks for your business based on what your inventory looks like. And there we go. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for joining me. It's a wonderful Monday morning, and I got to get to work here. I finally got a hold of my wholesaler that had redone their website, and I couldn't figure out how to get an order done, and they finally contacted me, and they're like, you're all set up now, so you can go order. So I'm really excited. I got to go put in an order because I'm almost out of stuff. That's the other thing with having that group and having the velocity rates for both weekly and monthly. I know how much I need to order. So this one in particular, I sell about 160 units a month, and we're going into the busy time. So I definitely want to order, if I want to order 3 months worth, that's, we'll just say maybe round it up to 200, 246, 600 units that I want to go do. And it's a multi-pack, so I've got to do the quick math calculations and put in that big order. But it's nice to say that, okay, I pretty much have consistently done 160 units for the last, X amount of months. And we're going into a busy month, so, make purchasing decisions based on numbers, not just, I think people are going to want this type of information. All right, guys, take care and have an amazing day. If you like these videos, leave me a thumbs up down on the screen here. And if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave those. I think tomorrow I'm going to do an AMA, Ask Me Anything in the morning. My husband suggested it. And I'm going to go through all of the past questions I've had in the last couple of weeks and things that I've seen on the boards and stuff. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.